Welcome to Siesta with Suki. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I am joined by Amanda Chen. Amanda has a fabulous story. And I'm just really excited to talk to her because actually there's a lot that I want to know. And you all want to keep watching because I'm sure there's a lot you'll want to know too. So the first thing I want to kind of start with, Amanda, is your story. As you know, we're talking to people who decided to relocate from one country to another, sometimes one city to another. And they realize, hey, I want to get involved in this business. And so I'd love to know, first of all, let's get into your background. Where are you now? Well, you know where you are, but that's okay. All of you don't know. Where are you now, and how'd you get here?
I am in Oaxaca, Mexico now. I'm on my third year living here. I'm originally from Toronto, and I'd say this is my third country that I have been living and working in.
What are the other two?
So when I first turned 21, I guess I wanted to be like Carrie Bradshaw in Sex and the City, and I needed to be a journalist and try it out in New York City. So that was the first thing I did.
Nice.
I got an internship at Esquire magazine, and I did that whole fashion game. And then I went back to Toronto, was a journalist for a few years, and then again moved to London, England, and continued the world in magazines until the .com digital era came in and took out magazines, and that's when I went into digital marketing. And from there, I created my first company back in Toronto, Salty Fulhammer. That was in 2018, and now I'm here with Tomo No Tomo that started in 2023.
Okay, we're going to go back to 2018.
Okay.
I definitely want to talk about the salt. So I got to tell you this quick salt story. So I've never really been very interested in salt, though I have been a heavy salt person. Just, I'd say 3-4 weeks ago, I came across a YouTube video where this woman talks about people who can't retain water. It's because their body needs actually regular salt water to retain water. So anyway, I tried this thing out. So I've been doing my Himalayan salt, and the craziest thing, I have actually been, I'm no longer dry. My skin's not as dry as it used to be. I don't drink and then I go to the bathroom 2 minutes later. It is a weird miracle. And so I was excited to talk to you because now I'm all into salt. I'm about to buy some Celtic salt because it's in an interesting way for some people, salt is kind of life.
Absolutely.
So talk to me how this all come about.
Creating the salts.
Yes.
Originally I was working in digital marketing, and I was in the strategy team, and a lot of my ideas for social media campaigns didn't go through. And so I just wanted to work for myself, make these campaigns go through, and I thought, okay, I can start a social media agency. And I was like, but then I deal with the same clients that also don't want my ideas. So I think the better idea would be to create my own brand, and then I can execute whatever campaigns I wanted there.
Okay.
And at dinner nights that I'd have with my friends, I would always be the one in charge of drinks because I wasn't a great cook. I would always bump into people, create.
I gotta stop you there. Do not listen to her.
It's different now.
Okay, because I was gonna say we just cooked this vegan oxtail the other day, and she handled it.
Yeah.
So those are old days.
Those are old days.
Okay.
And so I was really kind of isolated from the kitchen a lot of the times, and I would be isolated from all the cheese and everything. And so I had nothing to do. I'd sit at the table after 5 minutes. And what do I do now? So I started to get really into making drinks.
Okay.
And one of my favorite drinks to make were margaritas. And I started making my own custom salts. And my friends were like, why don't you sell them? And I thought, okay, let's do that.
So talk to me what a custom salt is, because I know salt, but what does that mean, custom salts?
It's like flavored.
Okay.
So I had no idea about food chemistry, anything. I tried to grind lime peels with a weed grinder. I blew up my magic bullet blender by mixing salt with Lindt chocolates to make like a chocolate salt, and it just became a salty mush. And so yeah, it was a lot of trial and error. I tried to sun dry the lime peels. That took 2 weeks and nothing happened from there. So yeah, it was a lot of trial and error, but I think that's the entrepreneurial spirit I've always had of trying to figure it out and doing it in crafty ways. And yeah, I came up with some flavors, and I thought, let me just start with that. If I can get this in a store, then that's my proof of concept for there. So I went to the biggest cocktail store in Toronto, and I was like, well, you tried my stuff. They got it, they bought it pretty quickly, and then I just ran with it.
Okay, so we're talking flavored salts on your drinks. Mm-hmm. This is very interesting. Yeah, I kind of like this. This is making sense to me. Okay, And so you're doing this, it's 2018, presumably things are going well. Now, what I want to talk to you about is I want to ask you, you mentioned that some of your campaigns, they didn't see the vision, right?
Yes.
So you decided that you were going to do your own campaign. So what was your campaign for your salt, other than just going in and talking to the people? Did you have a campaign?
So I wanted to be an influencer like everyone else did at this time. And so I created a lot of content, a lot of digital content to explain how the product works. I started to teach cocktail classes. I was one of the first people in Toronto to start Airbnb experiences. Started hosting cocktail classes in my house. And so just doing things that are new and innovative that no one would allow, or, unless it's tried and tested. I'd say that's how the campaign would run. And I decided to name each of the flavors and give them personalities and give them life to it instead of calling it whatever the ingredients are.
Okay.
And kind of giving it a little bit more character.
So give me one of the names.
Fiesta is the OG.
Okay.
It's made with Himalayan sea salt, lime zest, and grapefruit zest. So it's double lime.
Good stuff. Okay.
And as we'll talk about Tomo later, but everything's all natural. I hand grind everything, as I told you. And I chose 2 different citric acids to it, just to give it a little bit of flavor, bitterness as well. And what you know about alcohol is salt cuts the bitterness of alcohol, so then you'll get to taste more of the flavor. Sugar will mask the taste of alcohol. So that's if you want something that's more of a sweet drink. And so I started to also offer flavored sugars for anyone that wanted to mask the flavor of alcohol, didn't like alcohol. And now we have, a product, again, another alternative to someone that doesn't like the taste of alcohol. So that kind of ended up becoming my thing of how do I sneak in alcohol or sneak in products that are better for you.
Okay. Okay. So, I want to talk to you a little bit about attitude because I'm hearing a theme here.
Okay.
Now, we had a chance to talk, so I'll be honest, we talked beforehand. And we're at Amanda's house. We're making this vegan oxtail. Totally her idea. And it came out great. So I say it's her idea not because it didn't come out good. It actually literally came out great. We cut up the oxtail. It was fantastic. And while we're there, we all get to talking. And her and Evan start talking about how when they were younger, they used to sneak out of their houses. Now, I'm on the wayside because I never snuck out. Like, that was not happening for me. And I could not imagine doing something like that. But those two they're just cackling away. They're like, ha, 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 yeah, we just snuck out. And what really occurred to me, though? It really occurred to me that what you all shared was a sense of fearlessness, right? You said, you know what? I'm going to do it. I don't know what the consequences are going to be, but I fully accept them no matter what they are. Mm-hmm. And that was the impression that I get of you and your attitude toward business, but I don't want to speak for you. That's just my impression. Talk to me about what your attitude is and what your sense is of your business way.
Mm-hmm. I think I probably have a higher tolerance of risk, for sure. I think that from whatever risk you take, you've at least made a decision. And every decision is going to take a sacrifice. I think what happens is if you continue to stay in indecision, then nothing is going to happen. So even if you make the wrong decision, you can make another decision or another 5 other decisions to get you back onto the right track. But as long as you keep making decisions, you'll be moving to something versus the indecision. And I think there's a lot of highly intelligent people that stop themselves from doing anything because they know better. They know all of the consequences. They're going to think about them all and decide, I'm not going to move at all. Whereas I'd rather go and fail and move on from there because at least I'll have a learning.
Okay. And same thing with the salts, right? Because basically you taught yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever say to yourself, you know what, I don't know food chemistry. I didn't go to school for this. Should I even be doing this?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm very connected to my parents, and they're very traditional in the sense that they believe in 9-to-5s. They want a secure job. They wanted me to have a job that made sense to them. And so when I was like, I'm going to leave my high-paying marketing job, that sort of made sense to them, even though it wasn't digital, that I was going to start a salt company with no food science, not even a great cook, no business mind, no business school, nothing at all. Just going to start like that. I quit my job and just begin from there, and also bartend on the side so that I understood the industry. So it was just like a complete failure in my parents' eyes. Like, you're just going to drop out of success, basically, at a time where maybe you're too old for that allowance.
Okay.
And so that was how that began.
No, fine. But okay, it was taken out of the house anyway, so I guess, in the scheme of things, right?
Yeah, I think my decision is always the one thing I do know is if I've decided on something, I'm going 100% there.
Okay.
And I'll see it through whatever happens. Because I just want to know for my own sake, because otherwise I'll spend my whole life wondering. So I might as well get there.
Yes. Okay, so you're doing the business, everything's going well, you've got the salts, and then what happened to the whole world? COVID. Mm-hmm. So talk to me.
So yeah, I was working at a bunch of bars. This is probably the peak time of depression for me personally. I didn't know if I was doing the right thing by leaving my other job to become this deadbeat bartender that my parents were not proud of. Still selling the salts, great, doing the cocktail classes, moved them online, started selling cocktail kits, again, new innovative way. I started selling a lot of digital content. That's really when my influencer status spun up. Because there was nobody online. A lot of these sales reps and bars were old-time guys that, would go on premise and speak to their bartenders, and when all the bars were closed, who do they speak to? They have to go on Instagram, they have to go online, and that's really when it became an equal playing field.
Okay.
Equal opportunity, I would say, for anyone that wanted to expand. The digital space was allowed, for you to do whatever you wanted. And I got the biggest order I ever got. Which was 9,000 units. No, actually, it was 14,000 units.
How much was that mean in real numbers?
It was almost 100K.
Okay.
In salt.
Okay.
And so another great thing about salt is salt derives from the word sal, which is from salary. So people were actually paid in salt before because you could use salt to cure your meats and everything else. So it was actually a very valuable commodity at that time. So it was kind of funny that I got 100K worth of salt. And that was when I was like, okay, I'm out. I need a vacation. I don't know what's going on here. This was also at our third lockdown in Toronto. So I had to individually make all of those 14,000.
See, that's what I was going to ask you, because that's a lot of salt, right?
It's a lot of salt.
So yeah. You didn't have a big manufacturing process, nothing. This was all happening by hand?
Yeah, because all the co-packers were closed. Everybody was closed on lockdown. So I literally did that in my house.
Friends? Anyone?
I had friends. I had friends come over.
I'm saying, we got to call somebody.
And label.
Okay.
A friend come over, label. Another friend come over, label. Yeah, it was ridiculous.
No, but a good experience. Okay, so, because, a lot of things, because what I was thinking was manufacturing, right?
Yeah.
But you're talking about being able to fulfill a large order simply with just grit and your hands, so that is actually fantastic and pretty impressive. Okay, so COVID happens, and you're in your third lockdown now? Mm-hmm. Okay, but you've got this big order, so you say what?
And so I delivered the order by the end of the year of 2020. In January 2021, I decided to leave with a friend to Tulum. I was like, I'm just going to go and see what's going to happen. Because I just was not interested. I didn't want to be selling cocktail kits. That wasn't the same as selling salts. Salt I can sell on a large scale to tequila brands, to retailers. But the cocktail kits, I felt like I was a pizza delivery service.
Okay.
And sometimes people would do pickup, which you can pick up at the bar, or you can do delivery. And delivery obviously costs something. And so people would choose the pickup option and then call me and say, why hasn't it been delivered? And it's like, well, you clearly went through your checkout.
Okay.
You clearly checked. The one that said $0, which is a pickup with the location. And so what would you do? Would you call the pizza company and yell at them? Or would you just show up at the pizza shop and pick it up? And so there was all of this animosity at me just because I was front facing, I guess. Mm-hmm. I was an entrepreneur, I had a business, and I'm like, guys, I'm giving you cocktail kits so that you don't have to leave the house. I'm buying the alcohol for you. I'm doing something that a lot of people can't do. So, everyone's strained. All the Uber drivers, all the Uber Eats drivers, we're all here standing in line trying to get up the condos to deliver everyone's food and packages. And I was like, I'm not an Uber Eats driver. I didn't sign up for this. And the amount of disrespect that came from that really just killed the vibe. And I was like, if this is going to continue, which it seemed like it was, I was like, one-way ticket, let me get out of here. And so it was an escape for sure. Okay,
but I wanted to, before we talk about the escape, I do want to talk about that a little bit, just how business has changed. Mm-hmm. And how, because I'm kind of with you, I'm not really a front-facing business person in my mind. Like for me, I kind of feel like I have a great product, and if I have a great product, they should stand on their own. But I've come to understand that business is operating differently today. That where it used to be maybe networking with the buyers of the, for the bars, now it's actually networking with the consumers so that the buyers say, I want to buy from you. So just, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, you've watched this change. How comfortable are you with that? What are your thoughts?
I have a new respect for community-driven business. I didn't really understand what community meant. I thought it was just developing a following where people knew of you versus people working with you or wanting to be a part of the movement that you're creating, which means the movement that you're creating has to be above you. The room for Salty to grow any further, I stunted its growth because it was an ego-facing product to begin with. I just wanted to make cool social media campaigns. And so I created a little product, and then I expanded and did all these other cool things where the business just became a whole bunch of other mini services and offerings and products, and I didn't really have a focus, a vision, a movement towards what is this going to look like. Whereas my second business now, it started with mission. It started with what does this look like? What is the movement? What am I participating in? And developing that community first, and seeing how much the community, especially that's a group of sober curious people, it's a very specific group of people that are looking for healthier, more conscious alternatives. It's a suggestion towards a better type of living, right? So it's just way, way bigger than me and my one product itself.
Okay, so we're going to get to that, but we're 2020 now. We're in Tulum. What's happening in Tulum?
It was like hedonistic, luxurious life living, and every day was a vacation. Every day was a beach day, and eventually that paradise gets old, and it was just unsustainable after that. I think I just got bored of it, and I was like, is anyone else bored, or am I the only one out here? and I guess I didn't feel it. It didn't make sense to me, and so I took a solo trip to Oaxaca. I went to Mazunte, and I took a 10-day silent meditation retreat. Okay. And this was the first time I traveled by myself somewhere else where I didn't even know how to pronounce Mazunte the first time. I didn't know where it was going. And so, that was like really a journey to decide, like, am I going to make this choice for myself instead of just going along with people I knew or I already had like one foot in somewhere.
Okay. So you're Mazunte solo, and you realize what? After you come out from the silent meditation?
So I was really struggling on my identity with Salty and what that would mean if I was going to continue living in Mexico. Like, it means I have to let go of the things back home. And what am I going to do? I'm not going to be making cocktail kits here. And so I remember, I think it was like halfway through this meditation where I was in front of a cliff, and I was telling you I was battling depression and anxiety, and I felt like how I describe depression is usually like holding a big boulder that sometimes is bigger or smaller depending on the day. And I've created this really cool backpack that like held this boulder up, and it's got all these cool trinkets on it to make it feel lightweight, and so that I could do everything like everybody else, and it almost doesn't exist. And I'm standing in front of this cliff, and I'm like, okay, I now have the chance to let this ball drop, let it go. But then it also means I have to let go of the contraption, which is my whole personality, my whole identity that I created to carry this thing. And obviously won't serve if I don't have the boulder. So it was like, this is the amount of stuff I have to let go. Like, it's not just the boulder I'm letting go of, it's everything I put around it to protect myself with it and to survive with it. And so, that was the transition for me of letting go of a lot of things. So I let go of the business. I let go of alcohol. I let go of meat. I let go of music. I let go of like everything. Went in super monk mode, probably to 9th degree, because I wanted to see what would it change about me, and like what actually is my character, what is my personality for real, versus what have I been influenced to believe.
Okay. So in a sense, you went on that journey to find yourself.
Yeah.
And so I was going to ask you, because I certainly, and thank you for sharing that. I think that is probably the best metaphor I've ever heard on depression. No, really, because sometimes, even in the midst of depression, there is, I suppose it looks good, right? and it's hard for people to see it on the back, because what they see is, oh, you're so successful, and they can't see what's going on behind you, and probably because you've done such a good job of making depression look really good, but it doesn't change how you're feeling. And so kudos to you for the fearlessness to let that go, because for a lot of people it's hard to let that bad go. That's kind of what holds them back. So thank you, for just sharing that with us. So we are, you've come to that space. I wanted to ask you why you stopped drinking, but certainly you shared, and so in looking back, so I want to talk about Tomo No Tomo, but I want to talk about that very specifically, but I just want to stay on this for a second. Looking back, do you feel that any part of you before was at least a version of you? Was it authentically you? Was it authentically you at that time? And second part to that is, what do you think influenced you to be, that person, if you feel like it wasn't authentically you?
I think all parts of me, past, present, future, are always going to be me. I think it's important to always accept that, and accept what I didn't know before, and be forgiving of that, and appreciate that I have learned, and that I can move on to become a better version of what that was before, but always appreciate and respect who it was. And I think I was very much influenced about everyone else's thoughts of what the success actually mean. What are these vanity metrics that mean success? And does that actually mean success to me? And it made me reconsider why I try so hard for certain things. Whose approval am I really looking for? And now when I don't have that on my back, when I'm not seeking other people's approval, I'm just seeking a community, I'm seeking like-minded people that I'm not having to convince. It actually makes my life easier. I get more loyal customers. I get better partnerships. I get better communication. And so once you let that go, you can let in a lot more abundance in your life.
Okay. We are out here. We're basically like a Mr. Tony Robbins and, who's my favorite? Abraham Hicks. We have given it to you all. You don't even have to watch or listen to that. Here it was. We've given it to you. So again, thank you for that. Normally here, you're gonna talk to us about this. We're gonna take a sip because we're here to siesta, right? So we're gonna siesta with Tomo No Tomo, and then we're gonna talk about what Tomo No Tomo is. And we're not gonna open up the bottle, so we're going to tell us what we're sipping, and then we're gonna talk about it.
Cool. Awesome.
And we're gonna sip the Oaxacan way on our Tomo No Tomo. Gracias.
So this is a cocktail I created. It's made with orange, lime, and a pineapple, cinnamon, turmeric syrup that I created.
And speaking to my heart, turmeric is anti-inflammatory. Okay. All right. So we're gonna do it arriba, abajo, al centro, para adentro.